Now, I want to remind everyone, if you want to call up for Christian, you should probably get on the line right now at 1-877-392-3200 because we're only going to be able to have him for a limited amount of time, and he's going to be up in just a couple of minutes. Until he gets up, we'll hit some emails, and you can always email us at DaveMeltzer@yada.com. If you want to email questions for Jay Riso, Christian, you probably should do that right about now. In fact, he's up right now. Christian, how you doing today?
Not bad. How are you?
I'm doing really good. That's good. We had Edge on just Wednesday.
Yeah.
You two had actually exact similar backgrounds, being even together since sixth grade, as we found out.
Yeah. I moved to the town. Well, it was a small town outside of Toronto, and then actually I moved from even a smaller town, and then we met when I enrolled in the same school that he was going to, and we've been friends ever since then. So.
Were you like always best friends, or were you like in and out as friends?
No, we were. Well, actually, it was kind of a weird story because we were kind of more or less acquaintances because we weren't in the same class. But for some reason, I had a friend that gave me a ninja star when one of those throwing ninja stars, and I was like the only kid in school with one, so everyone was like all fascinated by it. And that's pretty much how we became friends because he liked my ninja star, and we just used to go out after school and throw it at trees and stuff like that. So that's basically how we became friends.
How old were you when you guys started going to wrestling matches?
Oh man, that was another thing. We both had a common interest in that. We just started talking about it. We both were huge wrestling fans, and we would go any chance we got. There was a lot of independent promotions at that time that came through every summer in the town that we lived in, and we'll put shows on in the small arena there. So we would go a couple times a summer to those ones, and whenever we could, we'd go down to Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto and watch WWF shows. Pretty much all of our Saturdays were spent in front of the TV watching as well. So, it was a big part of our lives growing up.
Now you watched. So you watched a lot. You watched, but both WWF and Stampede as well, right?
Yeah, we watched. Stampede was on. We got that on the Canadian Sports Network, TSN, the same one that carries Raw now. They carried it on Wednesdays, so we'd kind of rush home from school and watch it.
So like an after-school deal?
Yeah, it was like an after-school kind of on Wednesday afternoons at 5. We used to watch it. So, yeah, we grew up on that. And then there was also international wrestling from Montreal. That was on Sundays. So, yeah, we got quite a bit of wrestling on TV.
Did they have an English language version? Because I know I used to watch the international tapes, but it was in French.
Yeah, no, ours was in English. I guess they had done that for for both markets, but the announcers did speak in English when they showed it in Ontario. So.
Now, in that era, when your first remembrances of Stampede International, who were like the top guys in both of those companies at that time?
International, I guess the top guys were Martel, Bruiser Brody was there, Dino Bravo, Sweet Daddy Siki, who ended up training me, and then in Stampede, I guess was always Owen. Hart.
So this is like the Owen Hart era, past the Bret Hart, Dynamite
Bulldog,
Kid, right?
Yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So.
Now, when Adam Copeland, he got I guess trained originally by writing a letter or winning a contest at the Toronto Sun, right? Mm-hmm. And you were his friend, so did you kind of like follow in, like he started training and then he go, how did you get in as far as training? Did he start training you, or did you?
No, I trained at the same school he did. And actually it was funny because, like I said, we always used to kind of sit around and, we'd beat each other up in my backyard all the time, and we'd be like, we'd sit in the backyard and talk about how when we were WWF Tag Team Champions, we were going to do this and this, and, we kind of had our whole careers planned out, and we were like, oh yeah, we just sit there for hours and talk about it. And, that opportunity came up and he won that. And actually I went down the day that he went, after he wrote the essay, came down 5 finalists or something like that, and they all had to meet on a Saturday afternoon at this school. So I went with him. He didn't want to go by himself, so I went with him. And so he actually ended up training for about a year and a half. And I was starting in college and stuff like that. No, actually, I lived in high school. I don't know. I just didn't have the money for it and stuff like that, but I still knew that I wanted to do it, So he was doing it, and he was like, oh, it's great. I know you're going to love it when you get a chance. And I was like, yeah, I want to save up the money and all that kind of stuff. Then I started college, like a year or so after that. And then, when I was going to college, we were roommates and all that kind of stuff, and I just decided that, there was a time that I trained, and actually I used my student loan for school to pay for my wrestling school. Which,
wow.
so that's basically, that's what happened. So I didn't really have the money for it until I went to college.
Now, how long did you train before you started going on the road, or before what did you start working local independents, and then some of the guys saw you? Because I guess you guys, I used to see your names around in a lot of different. You did a lot of traveling for independent guys.
Yeah, we did. Our whole thought on the deal was that we would just go wherever we could, and just to try and get our name out and get work and meet people and kind of network, you know what I mean? And I guess the best way to do that was just to talk to different people that came to shows. When I started out, I did my first match. I trained for about 9 months, and then I had my first match, and it was actually at my school. We put a show on and had people come into the school and all that kind of stuff. And then, a couple weeks after that, I went to and I did another one for another guy in Toronto that was running a show. And then at this point, Adam and another guy, Joey Legend, and that had met some guys from Detroit on a show, and they said, "Oh, you should come down and check out, what's going on in Detroit. We run a couple times a month, whatever." So they went down, and then eventually I went down with them. We started working in Michigan, and then, we met people there that happened to be from, Cleveland, or, we ended up going down there, and then we met people that were in Tennessee, and we ended up going there, so we just constantly met people, and we just exchanged numbers with whoever we could, and we're just basically we just wanted to work, we just wanted to wrestle, we just wanted to be in the ring in front of people and learn and get experience, and that was the best way to do it, never mind that we were, putting more money in the gas tank than we were making, we just wanted to get in the ring and wrestle. So to us, that was the best way to do it, was just travel wherever we could.
Did you ever did your thoughts as far as ever waver as you're running around, not making any money, working the independent scene, or was it always we're gonna make it and this is just how you make it in wrestling? I think
it made me work harder. I was like, man, I'm putting a lot of time and energy into this thing, and not to mention I'm broke. So and I knew that anything less than making it to the WWF for me was failure. And this is what I've wanted my whole life. This is what I wanted to do. I didn't want to do anything else. I didn't want to do this as a hobby on the weekends. This is what I wanted to make a career out of. So anything less than that wasn't good for me. And the more that I did that, I think the more that it made me strive to be the best that I could and to make it to where I am. And that's the way I looked at it. I was just kept saying to myself, if I just keep working, someone's going to see me, or I'm going to get a chance, and all I need is the chance. And I just had it in my head. I just quit wasn't in my head. I didn't have it in my head. And my parents were totally supportive of that. They knew I wasn't making any money, and I was living at their house, and they didn't even charge me rent or money for food. My mom let me take her car on numerous trips, and they were saying, no, we don't want you to be 40 and look back and say, well, what if you could have done this? You know what I mean? They said, if this is what you want, we want you to do it. And I did. So, I didn't have any doubts in my mind. I just was trying to prepare myself for when I got the chance. I was going to make the best of it.
Were you real confident when you first went to Dory Funk Jr.'s camp, which I guess was the prelude of getting your WWF contract, or was it the other way around? Did you get the contract first and then go to camp?
No, I didn't. I actually had to go to a camp before they signed me. Yeah. I was nervous, anxious. It was everything that I felt that everything that I had worked towards was going to be in this 1 week. You know what I mean? And I didn't look at it. I was trying not to psych myself out or get scared. I was just kind of looking, saying, I was trying to convince myself that I deserved to be there, and that just to do the best I could. And if that wasn't good enough, hey, I tried, but I, like I said, I didn't doubt myself. I just went there and said, I'm just going to go over there. I'm going to work as hard as I can, and hopefully, they'll like what they see. And fortunately for me, it worked out.
Now, were you pretty as far as going there? Were you pretty confident in your ability? Because I know that from the first camp, you got real high raves from Dory Funk Jr. as far as being, a ring general, ring psychologist, able to control and lead a match.
Mm-hmm.
Was that something going in where you felt that hey, I know some of these guys and I can hang with any of them, or I'm as good as any of them, or were you just man, I don't know how I rank with all the different guys they're bringing into this camp?
No, I didn't know any of I knew one other guy that was going into the camp, and that was Rhino, who now is in ECW. And other than that, I didn't know any of the other guys. So, I was just I didn't know what to expect. All I knew is what I could do, and I just, like I said, I was there to work as hard as I could, and I really appreciate everything Dory did for me. He was great to me, and I learned a lot from him. And I had a great time when I was there. I was there to work hard, and I think I did that every day that I was there. I tried to, anyway.
Was it a pretty big thrill the first time you got the tag team title or the light heavyweight title? Was it like
actually,
it was a bigger.
I think it was a bigger thrill for me to get the tag team titles. It's more recognized, It's and that's kind of what we dreamed of from being kids. We used to sit around the backyard and talk about how we were going to be WWF tag team champions. And to actually, after having the match and to have it on our first match at WrestleMania. And then just, with knowing my parents were in the crowd and my fiance and my brother and all that kind of stuff was just a really cool feeling, to grab the belts and it was really cool. It was like kind of like a dream come true, I really, it was a great feeling.
Have you ever thought, you're like very early in your career, but have you ever thought of like, you thought as a kid of getting to the WWF now, have you thought of like how long you would want to do it, or is it just as long as you feel, healthy doing it?
Yeah, I think as long as, I'm able to compete on a high level. My body will allow me to. I'd love to do this for definitely as long as I can. So I wouldn't like to put a time limit on that, But to say, I'd like to do it, 5, 6 years, I'd like to do it as long as I possibly can, whether that's 10 years, whether it's 15, whether it's 20, as long as I'm having fun doing what I'm doing and my body allows me. And, I wouldn't want to do anything else other than this. So as long as I can do it, I will.
What's the best and the worst part of your travel schedule, as far as how grueling it is and everything?
The best part is, getting to meet different people and seeing a lot of different places, and probably the worst part about it would be, sometimes you don't get to have as many meals as you'd like, or you have to skip a day in the gym training because you just don't have time. It all, you have to take the good with the bad. So.
We have a full bank of calls. Before we go, I wanted to ask you, have you heard anything as far as WWF, as far as banning DDT or tombstone pile drivers? And someone told me that kind of came down Monday, and then I was watching the show yesterday, and they did have a DDT. I noticed a DDT on the show by Rock. And
no, I didn't hear that.
Okay.
I didn't hear that.
I'm going to try to find out some more about that one.
Okay.
Let's go to Dave in Pennsylvania. You're first up with Christian.
Oh, hello.
How you doing?
Yeah, Dave, you just stole my question there. I was going to ask that exact question.
Oh, okay.
Can you think of another one?
So, anyways, I guess a good question for Christian. I think I'm really a fan of the work he's doing right now with Edge.
Uh-huh.
But it seems like the momentum stops. You win the big match at WrestleMania.
Uh-huh.
You do the next night. You do the great heel promo, and then it was like you guys were tweeners with this X-Pac and Road Dogg thing. Then it starts up again with the flash photography, and it's going great. Then your jobs are too cool, and we see subsequent jobs to The Rock and last night to the Dudleys.
Uh-huh.
And I wonder, do they have a long-term in place for you guys, like a long-term plan? And just yes or no, and what would you like to see for a long-term plan for yourself? Is it with Edge and Christian as a tag team, or what are you looking for in the WWF long term?
I think our main goal was always to keep our own identities, so that if it ever came to the point where it was time to go our separate ways, we could do that without being labeled just a tag team. But I would like to ride this. It seems to be going really well right now with what we're doing, and I'm enjoying it and having the most fun that I've had yet. So, I'm getting a lot of mic time, and we're doing a lot of backstage stuff, which has been a lot of fun. The matches have been good. And so, when you talk about momentum, I don't feel like we've lost any since WrestleMania. It's all about I think we're going forward. I think as long as it continues that way, I think we'll be fine. I think eventually, I don't know how long down the road we'll split up or even if we will, but like I said, we've kept our own kind of identities. That's why I never had like a team name or anything like that. We've always just kind of been Edge and Christian. In that respect, so we'd have our own identity. So if it ever came to that, we could do it that way.
Mm-hmm. I like to think of you guys as kind of like a new version, like a new take on like the Midnight Express.
Uh-huh.
And you've got this nice.
That's a good compliment, actually.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
You got this. Oh, sorry. You got this nice heel thing going.
Uh-huh.
Going really well. It's one of my favorite segments on the show.
Well, thank you.
And I think there's lots of drawing power in a feud with you guys as the heels instead of a face versus face feud with the Hardys, and then also with the Dudleys.
Yeah,
and I wonder, the Dudleys would need someone. Have they thought of putting a woman with you so the Dudleys can put them to a table? I would hope not, because you guys stand well on your own.
No, that's what I mean. I think we stand pretty good on our own. And for me, I don't personally. I think we're better off on our own.
Yeah, myself too.
That's my opinion. And anytime we can get in there with the Dudley boys or the Hardy boys is great with me, because I enjoy wrestling both of those teams. They're fantastic, and like I said, I would love to go into another long thing with the Hardy boys or the Dudley boys anytime. They're great. So I look forward to it. I hope we get to.
When you had the first ladder match with the Hardy Boys, did you going in with you four guys, did you have the idea that you were going to have a match that was going to be, you were going to tear the house down with the match? This was the match that because it was kind of a match where you guys were all on the show and you were all doing very well, but that match kind of like made everyone sit up and notice, and I think it made the management notice as well. And I think it or was it one of those things where it turned out better than you expected?
Well, it did turn out. It turned out as we had hoped. I put it that way, because we expected a lot from. I think when I speak with the four of us, being the Hardy Boys and myself and Edge, that we're all kind of perfectionists about what we do. So if there was anything that had gone wrong with the match, it would have been. I wouldn't have liked it very very much. I'm glad everything came off. The way we had hoped that it would, and. God, I kind of lost the question. What was the question? I'm sorry.
Oh, it was just like going in, like say the day before the afternoon of the match was. Did you guys have the attitude like we're stealing the show and everyone in management and every wrestling fan's going to know who we are when this match is over? Or was it just one of those things where when it was over, it's like wow, that's like the best match we've done or something? So
you know what I think it was is that we wanted to at least have it on par with what Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon had done, and we didn't want to
standard.
Pardon me.
That's a hell of a standard.
That was the standard. We wanted to be on par with that. You know what I mean? And I think we pulled it off personally. And like I said, it was just we were just hoping to go out there and do the best we could and make sure that every person that bought a ticket that night to be live or on pay-per-view were entertained. And hopefully that was the case. And like I said, that was what we were shooting for, was to be on. And I know I watched both of those matches a couple times before. Just so I get a feel for what we were in for. You know what I mean? It was pretty tough on the body and all that kind of stuff. So, but it was great.
Had you ever done a ladder match before?
I never had before that.
Wow. And
I'd done stuff involving ladders, but never actually had a ladder match.
And whose idea was it? Did it was the Hardys' idea, or did management just come to you and just go, hey, this match, kind of put Shawn? I would say put him on the map, but it was like the big. It was a big step for Shawn Michaels and everything like that. And maybe like this will be the one that can do the same thing for you guys.
Well, it's funny because Edge and I were talking about having a series with those guys, and the Terry stipulation in that wasn't in it. That was kind of what they had come up with. We were, we didn't know what it was. We knew there was going to have to be some sort of stipulation or something, and I was like, man, what if we could do like a best of 7 series with these guys? That'd be awesome. We should, see if we can do it. And so we kind of talked about it, and then we talked about it with the Hardys and stuff, and then we figured that if it came down to it, to the final match or whatever, there would have to be some kind of special match, and we kind of all agreed on pitching that double ladder match. So that's kind of how that ended up.
Anything else, Dave?
Oh, just one last thing, Dave. Thanks for staying with me. If the WWF came to you, Christian, and they said, we want to do some upward mobility thing here, we want a stable, like to feud with maybe DX, if DX were to turn face at some point or something like that, just to make a stronger faction kind of thing, like a horseman, or the Hart Foundation was a few years ago in the WWF. What 2 guys would you like to see put with you and Edge and Christian? I could think Edge, Christian, Benoit, and Jericho. I think that'd be an excellent stable right there a year or so down the line. Or maybe sooner than that.
Yeah, Kurt Angle. Kind of sort of linked with you guys right now, yeah.
Yeah. No, that would be great.
I'd kind of like to see a U.S.-Canada thing, though, myself, but... You never know what could happen. You never know, but that'd be sure. I would love to get a chance to work with Benoit. He's always been, one of my favorites to watch, and I'm really looking forward to being able to work with him sometime in the future. Okay,
Chris is one of my good friends, so that'd be great too.
Let's go to thanks, Dave. Let's go to Nick in New Jersey. Nick, you're up with Christian.
Hey, Dave and Christian.
How you doing?
I have a question for Christian. I was wondering what you feel about all the high-risk maneuvers that you've been taking recently, especially in the ladder match at No Mercy.
Well, what do you mean? How do I feel after, or how do I feel about doing them?
How do you feel about doing them? You know, there's been countless injuries and everything.
I don't really try not to think about the injuries too much. I think if you do that before you go in, you're going to psych yourself out, and I think there's a bigger risk of hurting yourself or somebody else. Of course, you're aware of what could happen and all that kind of stuff. But you know, if I'm sitting maybe after like a day or two after it, I'm watching it, I'm saying, man, you know, we really could have got hurt there or something. I try not to think about it when I'm doing it because I don't want to psych myself out. And when you're out there and your adrenaline's pumping and the fans are cheering and, you know, you're just in the moment, you know what I mean? You feel it more the day after that, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The first couple days after is when your body feels it. So, I don't know. I just want to entertain people and give them their money's worth and hope they have a good time. And that's basically how I feel about it.
All right, that's about it.
Great.
Is there anything that you have done in one of these big matches that you either looked at the tape or you felt it like the day after and you just go, you know, wow, that one maybe I shouldn't have done, maybe, you know, like you know, that, you know, my back hurts a little too much and I know exactly which one it's from, or has that not really happened to you?
No, in WrestleMania when Jeff Hardy and I were on top of the ladder and they shoved it and we both fell off the top of the ladder over the rope to the floor. I landed on my side, and the next morning when I woke up, I tried to roll over out of bed, and I was like, oh, my hip, you know what I mean? So, you know, just, I don't know, I know exactly where some of them, you know, what they're from and that, but a lot of times when you're taking so many bumps and you're getting hit, you don't really know which exactly is which, so, but,
Do you have like a feeling as far as like you know, just like chairs to the head worry you, or is there anything that you do actually that kind of worries you or that you would want to back off on, or right now is everything cool? You know, you pretty much feel like you're comfortable with everything that you're doing.
Yeah, I'm pretty comfortable. You know, I try not to do anything that I don't feel that I can do. And I don't think anybody should do, if they don't feel comfortable with something, I don't think they should do it. So definitely if I don't feel comfortable doing something, you know, I would say I don't think I could do that, you know what I mean? Or, you know what I mean? Because otherwise you're going to hurt yourself or somebody else is going to get hurt. You don't want that. So, you know, basically I don't do anything that I don't think I can do.
What was your feelings as far as like going to Japan and wrestling in Japan?
I loved it, you know. It was a dream of mine to wrestle over there, to experience it, because I was always, you know, got Japanese tapes or magazines whenever I could, and I just always, it was something that I really wanted to experience, was to be over there and be able to go over there and do 2 tours was great, and I had a great experience and great time, and it was a lot of fun, and yeah, I wish I could have ended up going more, but yeah, I had a good time. I'm glad I went.
SmackDown last night did a 5.0 rating. It opened at a 4.0. Main event went off the air at a 5.7. So it's a pretty solid rating. It's actually better than the overnight sort of indicated that it would do. So that's pretty good.
Good.
Let's go to Tanisha in California.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi. I just want to say that first, Jay, I think you are a great piece of talent that the WWF has right now.
Thank you.
I think you're pretty underrated. And
Thank you. Appreciate that.
You're welcome. And on a side note, I was at the WWF Access for WrestleMania 2000, and I almost had the chance to meet you. I was too busy yelling at Bob Backlund, and I turned around and I see the back of your head.
Oh, sorry.
So, man.
Did you have a good time there?
Huh?
Did you have a good time at the Access?
Oh, yeah. It was the best thing in the world. And it's got that it was the first one, and I was there, too.
Good. I think they're going to do another one next year, too, so it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, next door in Texas. I need to get a car. So, if you weren't a wrestler, what do you think you would be doing? Because I know that you've, like, grown up watching it and you dreamed of doing it, but you so have mic skills and that you could do. You so have them. What do you think you'd be doing?
God, I don't know. You know, I was actually going to go through school to be a physical therapist, and and I actually had ambitions of also playing pro hockey. So I was a goalie in hockey up till junior, and I always used to tell my parents, I'm either going to be a pro hockey player or a pro wrestler. So you never know, maybe I would end up going the hockey route and would end up being a pro hockey player. I don't know. That would have been my other dream other than this. So.
Oh, that's pretty cool. And what do you really think about, like, the negative things people say about wrestling? Because me being a chick down here in California, I get a lot of crap just for being a fan, having, like, your picture all over my folder and everything. And I just really hate it. I get sick of it. What do you think about it? Because, like, for me, it just makes me want to watch more.
I don't know. I don't think it's anything that people don't see already in movies. People have to realize it's entertainment. And it's a live-action adventure series, basically. You know what I mean? It's nothing they wouldn't see in a movie or like on NYPD Blue or something like that. You know what I mean? If you don't like it, then don't watch it. Change the channel. It's as simple as that. You know what I mean? Or that's my thought on it anyway.
Yeah, I always say that, but they still won't shut up. So.
Well, I mean, everyone. One of the things that all of us growing up as wrestling fans have encountered is that, sometimes wrestling brings it upon itself, and sometimes people don't know anything about wrestling and make stereotype judgments and suppositions, and you just have to realize that, there's a little bit of both, and if the comments are made by people who don't know what they're talking about, take them for what they're worth, and if they're made by people who do and there's something to it, just go, well, it's not a perfect world, and nor is any other form of entertainment perfect.
I have a lot of people say to me, I'm sorry, I don't watch wrestling, I don't know who you are, and it's something that's fine, it doesn't bother me. Not everybody likes football, so you know what I mean. Not everybody's going to watch football. It's just a personal preference. If you like it, that's great. If you don't, that's fine too.
Opinion.
Yeah, just as far as like to me, like it's like if people make like what I would call a stereotypical comment, where they blanket the whole industry, or they blanket, like, oh, every wrestler is stupid, or every wrestler is a barbarian, or wrestling is stupid. Just go like, that's just, I wouldn't even like listen to that, because it's like there's good and bad in everything.
Right.
And you shouldn't be ashamed of being a fan of something that you enjoy at all. People don't tell people. I never really understood why people like, people used to go to me, and it was always like, those wrestling fans, they're so crazy. And I would go to hockey games, and I would go to football games, and people lived and died. In this area, just growing up, people used to live and die if the 49ers won or lost. And I was thinking like,
and there's people dying at soccer games in Europe, so there you go.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, like, it didn't matter to me that much who won the wrestling match. I didn't live and die with it the rest of the league. It was just...
You're to be entertained is basically what it is. And if you're being entertained by it, that's great. And if you're not, then find something else that entertains you. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. Anything else, Tanisha?
Yeah. What advice would you give to someone who wants to be in the business one way or another? I don't want to, like, wrestle, but just...
I would say... best advice to give is probably try to be patient, and because at times it can be a tough thing to do. It's hard, and if it's something you really want to do, and it doesn't just go for the wrestling industry, it goes for any industry. If it's something that you really want to do, then pursue it, and don't let anybody tell you any different. And try your hardest, and get your name out, get as much work you can, and that's basically the best advice I can give.
I think you should probably go to a school that's like taught real wrestlers too.
Really? Okay.
As far as there's a million wrestling schools. I would go to one that where you could look and go, okay, this person has gone, there's people that have gone through this school that have gone somewhere, or the teacher, someone who's well respected in the industry or something like that.
Yeah, there's more than just one too. You might want to check out a few of them and make sure that and see which one may be best suited for you. Or there's many, so you may want to check out 5 or 6 or whatever.
I've got a couple in mind up in Northern California.
Okay, I don't know much about them out in California though, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're
good talking to you.
Okay, thanks so much, Tanisha. Let's go to Dominic in Virginia. Dom, what's happening today?
Pretty good, David. I actually want to say great interview last night with Tom Zink. got a chance to listen to it this morning. I really enjoyed it thoroughly. Just like
that was a real entertaining show.
I wanted to hear more stories about Brian Pillman, really.
Well, we'll have him on. I'll tell you, I think the last 2 days have been two of my favorite shows when we had Edge on Wednesday and Zink yesterday. They were just both shows I thought were just like a lot of fun.
Definitely. Christian, actually 2 questions.
Okay.
First of all, I know that before you started full-time with WWF, you did a few spot shows with Jim Kentner up in Delaware and Maryland. Just want to know what your opinions of him and a lot of the young wrestlers he pulls out from up there. And secondly, if you had to choose, which would you prefer, an hour's worth of stink faces or an hour's worth of naked lap dances from Mae Young?
I'll answer the Jim Kettner question.
Why won't no one answer my questions on that?
Jim Kettner is a good guy. He was very good to me. He treated me great from the day that I met him, and I enjoyed working for him very much. And I think he has a great little show there that he runs and has some loyal fans, and he really tries to make a little show into a big production. And I think it's great. And he's got himself a little video screen so he can show, music videos and entrance videos and little backstage interviews and stuff like that. And it's great, you know what I mean? He has lights and ring announcing and he makes tapes and all kinds of stuff. You know, he's a good guy, and he treats his guys good, which is really important. And the guys that work there too are great. They're really nice guys, and he's got a great little promotion there.
Yeah, because I've only been in Virginia for 2 years, but I've heard a lot about his promotions. I've already hit a couple shows, including the Grade 8, which to me is one of the most unbelievable, at least of getting as much talent, not just of Northeast, but from all over. Like he was pulling guys out from California, from the Midwest.
I mean, basically, he flew me down from Toronto to do a few of his shows, and I appreciated that very much. It saved me having to drive 12 hours.
Yeah, I've always told Dave he should get him on, because, I mean, for a guy who's been in the business for over 30 years, pretty much you say... Yep, he's been doing this for over, I believe, 32 years he's been doing this. I was looking on the...
I'm aware. Yeah, I'm aware. Yeah, you're right. And he's been, there's very few guys that have survived on that independent level. I don't know if anyone has survived that long.
And like I said, he's got some loyal fans there, and he puts on a great show, and the fans are happy every time they leave his shows, which is important.
Actually, one thing, Christian, actually a legitimate question. What do you think the WWF should do really to try to work on the light heavyweight division? Because you kind of got into that right away before that unfortunate task with Gilbert, which I don't think you really wanted to put that as a highlight of your career, being the first win for Gilbert. But I mean, what do you think you should do? I mean, would the best thing be outside sources, either Mexico or Japan, or even just try to work with what they can, bring some guys up from Memphis? I mean...
I'm not sure exactly. I guess, the only thing they really can do is bring in more guys that would fit into the light heavyweight, that would, pretty much wrestle as light heavyweights all the time. They just need, I guess, like you said, more light heavyweight guys to fill up the division. Basically, They have a few now. I don't personally see myself as a light heavyweight.
What's your legit weight?
Right now I'm about 216. 216. Just about 6'1".
When you were growing up, did you ever worry about size being an issue, especially in the 80s?
Well, when I was growing up, size was an issue. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Guys were huge.
Monsters.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's evolved to athleticism, and that's worked in my benefit. You know what I mean? And a lot of the other guys, like the Hardys or other guys like that. I was definitely intimidated. That was one of the questions I had when I was starting training in wrestling camp. Was, am I going to be big enough? But I train pretty regularly, and I know that I'll never be the biggest guy in the world, but I'll just try to keep myself in the best shape that I can for me, and that's fine. And I feel like I'm at a good size because I can move pretty well, and I'm not the smallest guy there, but I'm not the biggest by any means. So I feel good about the way that I am in the ring. So.
All right. Well, I think, Christian, enjoy the rest of your career. I've always enjoyed you.
Appreciate that.
Thank you very much. And as somewhat of a fellow Canadian, I'm a border town. I'm kind of surprised that it's not superior that every young boy who's in Canada dreams up of being a pro hockey player.
Yeah.
I'd like to meet one who doesn't.
That's right.
All right. Enjoy.
Take care.
When you were growing up, and even now, what are there any wrestlers who specifically you enjoy? Like as far as you talked about getting tapes and things like that. So you grew up and like saw Japanese tapes and tapes from the States and things like that. Is there?
Yeah.
Were there any people going like, well, you know, in that mid '80s period, I guess is when we're talking about that, you were just like, oh, I can't wait to get a tape of, you know, this guy, or like was there ever a match like, I wish like Ric Flair would wrestle Owen Hart or something like that?
Yeah, it was funny because Edge and I used to sit around when we were like in 7th grade, and we had an old school textbook, and we write in it dream matches that we would like to see. And then we also put in the other column who we thought would win the match, you know, stuff like that. So it was, you know, I enjoyed watching tons of different guys, you know. And actually in Stampede, they had some Japanese talent there, like Hirohase was there, and Lager was there actually before he was Jushin Lager. And I used to enjoy watching those guys there. And, you know, I used to enjoy watching guys like Ricky Steamboat was one of my favorites. I always like watching Savage and Bob Orton, and you know, I like watching the Honky Tonk Man just because he was such a great heel, you know what I mean? And of course, Bret Hart. Because of that, I just love watching Mr. Perfect. I loved watching guys that could wrestle, go out there and really wrestle.
So when you were a kid, you recognized the I guess athletic wrestling ability right away, because almost all of the guys that you've named, with the exception of Honky Tonk Man, pretty much fit that bill. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, I just enjoyed watching guys that could really go out there and just go. You know what I mean? And to me, all those guys could. You know, like one of my favorite matches of all time was Steamboat and Savage, WrestleMania 3. I still have it on tape and watch it from time to time. You know, so.
How old were you when you sort of realized that you know, the big aspect of the match was the guy selling the moves and things like that? I mean, were you like, could you recognize that when you were like a young kid, or was it going to wrestling school or somewhere in between where you go like, hey, you know, wait a minute, this guy always has good matches because
you know I really didn't really understand it until when Adam got into it before I did. I started to understand it a little more, but up until then I was just like, you know, I didn't really know. I just knew that I love watching these guys wrestle, you know what I mean? And but I started to understand why they always had such good matches, and why I liked watching them so much when I started to get into it.
Yeah, because when I was a kid, I didn't understand that aspect of it, but it was weird because like you could sense certain guys, you know, always had good matches. And other guys didn't, you know, and I would always, and I knew like who were good workers and who weren't, but I never understood the carrying and the selling and why, you know what I mean? I like, it's like you knew who was going to have a good match, but I mean, I can't remember. I mean, I was a lot older than most people think before I understood why, even though I always knew who would have the good match and who wouldn't beforehand usually.
Yeah, it was the same kind of deal.
Yeah. Let's hit a couple of the emails because we're flooded with them actually. This is from Scott in Maine, who says he wonders if you have any good stories about Owen Hart, if you knew him well at all, and also, did you ever watch tapes of the Super Junior tournaments from Japan and ever want to be in something like that?
Yeah, I always thought it would be cool to be in the Super J tournament. I did watch one. I believe Benoit won the year, or the one that I watched. I've watched a couple of them, and I really enjoyed them. You know, I thought it was pretty cool tournament to have all the different guys from the different companies there in one tournament. So that was a pretty neat idea. And Owen was a really nice guy. He's one of the nicest guys I've ever met. And he was one of the funniest, and he helped me out a lot. And with anything, could have been advice for a match or just about changing a plane ticket to get home. You know what I mean? He was like, it was funny because Edge used to call him the road guru. So we'd always go to him and ask him questions and stuff like that because he was just such a good guy. You know what I mean? And actually, one funny story that just when you mentioned that popped into my head was we were in Philadelphia and we were doing a house show there, and that was when we were doing the Brood, and went out and did our match, and we came back, and Gangrel couldn't find his watch. He's like, man, I can't find my watch. And then Owen walked by and said, Dave, do you know what time it is? And he's like, no, I can't find my watch. So then, like 3 or 4 months later, whenever we came back to Philadelphia, went out, had our match, we came back, his watch was sitting in the exact same place that was 3 months earlier when he left. So he's like, what's going on here? And Owen walked past again, Dave, do you know what time it is? So he kept his watch for like 3 or 4 months and then put it back in the exact same place at the same arena, you know? So it was funny.
Oh, man. This is from Kathy and Tara. They had a whole bunch of questions. You know, when you and Edge were on, or you today and Edge Wednesday, we never, I just want you to know this, we never get any phone calls from women. We get almost no emails from women.
Okay.
The only person before you guys that I remember ever getting emails from women, like were more than maybe say one or two, was Bret Hart. And then then we had like a ton of them, and we have a ton of them again today. But anyway, so you should take that as a compliment, I guess.
Oh, thank you.
What are your favorite moments from Grand Prix wrestling?
Grand Prix. Oh. Man. I had a lot of fun out there. It was actually my first experience where we worked 7 nights a week. We worked every night and sometimes twice on Sundays. So actually it was a really good experience, and I got a lot of ring time and got in really good ring shape that summer. So it was I thought the whole experience as a whole was good for me because I really got to learn what it was like to work in a territory. And it was good. And in the last month of the tour, we got to work with Don Callis and Rick Martel in the main events every night. And that was a lot of fun. So.
And also, because we're actually running low on time, it's like, what was the most embarrassing moment for you in your career?
Most embarrassing moment. Well, it might have been like my 3rd or 4th match, and I was wrestling. There's this stuff that you can, a lot of guys put on oil to get a shine on their body. Well, there was this stuff called hot stuff, and it was supposed to make you more vascular, supposed to make your veins pop out and stuff like that, but it looks like oil. And I didn't realize when I sprayed it on that, it's got a really strong smell to it, and if you really smell it, it can make your eyes water and everything like that. So I had this on, and I was out there wrestling the guy, and the guy got it on his hands, and he raked my eyes, and my eyes were swollen shut about a minute into the match. So I ended up doing this 15, 20-minute match, and I didn't see anything, so it was like just a horrible match, and I couldn't open my eyes for like a day. So that was pretty embarrassing. That was probably the most embarrassing moment of my career.
Oh my God. Anyway, well we're out of time this hour, and I want to thank you very much for doing the show.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. It was great.
Oh, it was great, and good luck coming up on the next pay-per-view, and
thank
you. Keep injury free and keep putting together those entertaining matches because you guys are doing a great job.
Thanks, Dave. I appreciate that. Thanks for having me on.